This slidecast is a rehearsal of a presentation given at the e-commerce seminar organized by the Belgian-Chinese Chamber of Commerce in Brussels on the 6th of May 2014. Let me first give you a bit of background about myself. I've got a background in CRM, online marketing and database marketing, and I've been doing that for various different companies in the Netherlands, most of which are multinational companies. And after doing that for about 15 years, I wanted to do something different. So I decided to volunteer and use my marketing skills to help people elsewhere in the world. I've been doing a lot of traveling in Asia, so I wanted to do some volunteering in Asia for 1 or 2 years. And I ended up in China, in Xi'an, in the middle of China, most well known for the Terracotta Army. And I worked there for 2 years as a marketing consultant. And in Xi'an, I helped several organizations working with disabled people and with orphans, and I helped them with their marketing, with their fundraising, with setting up websites, etc., etc. I also spent some time doing lectures for students at the Shanxi Normal University, and in the remaining time I participated as a member of the committee of the Xi'an International Business Forum, doing their online marketing for them, and also giving trainings in marketing to some of their members, some free trainings. So all of this was done on a voluntary basis. While being in China, I was asked by the website Customer Talk, a Dutch website which is all about CRM and online marketing and innovation in marketing and sales, to write about my experiences in China, and especially about Chinese e-commerce and internet and CRM. So I wrote a total of 35 columns for their website, and I captured these columns and I put them in a little booklet called China Talk. Now if you speak Dutch, you can also download it for free as an ebook on a website I'll mention later. Currently, I'm still writing an article about China every 2 weeks. Sometimes that's about online, sometimes it's about different subjects about the cultural differences with China. So you can go to china2025.nl to read them. Finally, I also write articles for Chinese radio and television magazine. What are we going to do today? Like I said, I want to talk with you, I want to tell you something about the developments in the past year in China in the area of e-commerce, social media and m-commerce. And I'm going to do this by describing also 3 important companies to you: Alibaba, Sina Weibo and Tangxun Weixin, or WeChat as we call it here, because the combination of these 3 give you a very good idea about what's currently happening in China. So first, let's start by having a look at how many people are using the internet in China at the moment. In 2013, that number reached 618 million. Now you might think that's a lot. It is a lot, but as a penetration of the total population, it's only 46%. So there's still an enormous growth that can come in China in the area of online netizens, as we also call them, because not even half of the population has access to the internet. So considering how huge everything already is in China, it's gonna get even more humongous. Now, there's 3 companies that are essential to understanding the Chinese online environment, and they are often called the BAT, B-A-T, Baidu, Alibaba and Tencent, or Tangxun as they are locally called. All of these companies started out in their very own area. Baidu is originally a search engine, Alibaba originally is e-commerce, and Tencent made games. But they also started to make their enormously popular WeChat app and thereby got into the market of social networking. I'm especially going to pay attention to Alibaba, Tangxun, WeChat and Sina Weibo in this presentation. Looking at the bad companies, there's a couple of things that you can see from the results of 2012 and 2013. First of all, you'll see that they are still growing a lot, especially in sales volume. And in the case of Alibaba, this is not the sales of goods through their platform, but is their own revenue which they make from marketing services to people selling on their platforms. So We can see that it's still growing. We can also see that Tencent has the highest sales volume, but still Alibaba is more profitable at this moment, especially if you look at their growth from 2012 to 2013. Their profitability has increased a lot. Now Alibaba and Tencent are also the two companies which are most sort of in war with each other, as we'll see in the coming minutes. And let's look at the e-commerce market. The e-commerce market is very big. If you look at the billion renminbi market, we see that in 2013 it reached 1,850 billion renminbi, and that's nowhere near where it's going to go, because if the estimations are that in 2017 it will have more than doubled again to more than 4 trillion renminbi. So as I said, this will also be a result of even more people getting access to the internet. Some more statistics about 2013 to give you an idea about the online market. There's 302, so almost half of the Chinese online people have shopped online. The total e-commerce transactions, the total online transactions are 10 trillion renminbi. And as we've seen, there's 1,850 billion renminbi of that total amount is in the e-com retail market, in online retail. The rest is also in traveling and in tickets, etc., and all kinds of stuff. But the retail market, online retail, is, let's say, 1.9 trillion RMB. According to analysts, by 2020, China's e-commerce market will be bigger than USA, Great Britain, Japan, Germany and France combined. So that's how big it's gonna grow. The e-commerce market has a couple of major players. Tmall is part of Alibaba. It's the brand store of Alibaba. And in second place, we see a company called Jingdong. Now, remember this one because this has become one of the partners of Tangxun. So Tangxun, Tencent, has partnered up with the number 2 in the market. Now, number 3 is Tencent itself, and then we have a few other ones. A couple are interesting. Amazon is relatively small in China. Suning is a company that sells consumer electronics online. Dangdang is a bookshop, and a very interesting one as well is Yihojian. Yihojian is a company that sells groceries. It's an online supermarket, so to speak. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that we here are discussing the business to consumer market, but much bigger still is the consumer to consumer market. And consumer-to-consumer market is mostly dominated by Taobao, another platform of Alibaba. Currently, still roughly two-thirds of the total market is consumers or very small businesses selling to other consumers. But you see that during the coming years, this share in the total market will grow as more and more official formal businesses and formal brand and retail storefronts will come online and will sell to the people. Now, let's have a closer look at Alibaba. Alibaba is a company that was started by Jack Ma at the end of the 1990s. And Jack was originally an English teacher, but he was much more interested in the internet. And eventually he started Alibaba with a couple of friends working from a living room of a house. And the first product they made was Alibaba.com. And Alibaba.com was an international trading platform where businesses from China could sell their products to overseas companies from foreign countries. Now that proved very successful, and they went into a new platform, and that's the C2C Taobao. Taobao.com, where consumers and small businesses sell their stuff to other consumers, and there's a lot of people that have made quite a bit of money doing this. The reason why it's so popular is that in certain parts of the country the logistics are very bad, so it's very difficult to get certain products in stores. So with e-commerce you can basically ship to everywhere in the country, so it makes the products available to people that normally wouldn't be able to buy it. Tmall, and what you see here is their upcoming new branding, because they're rebranding the website. Tmall evolved as the B2C platform, And this is where brands could set up their own storefront, or retailers could set up their own storefront, and they're now rebranding it and focusing more on the first and second tier cities, where Taobao will take care of the smaller cities and say the countryside. A couple of years ago, in 2010, the final platform was added, AliExpress, and this is where B2C goes international. So this is where companies in China are selling their stuff internationally to people in the West. Some more statistics to give you an idea about the size of Alibaba. It's got 24,000 employees, which is more than Yahoo and Facebook combined. In 2012, a total of 170 billion US dollars in sales went through the platforms of Alibaba and Tmall. And that's 2% of China's GDP, to give you an indication. Also, in 2012, they had almost 37 million users, almost 3 million sellers on their platforms, and almost 6,000 different product categories. So basically anything, you can buy anything on the Alibaba platforms. Alibaba accounts for 60% of all of the packages delivered in China, and Taobao and Tmall together cover 80% of the total e-commerce market in China. The total value of Alibaba as a company is estimated somewhere between 136 and 245 billion. And Alibaba is getting ready to make an IPO, where I think they are taking 12% of the company to market in an IPO, and that is expected to take place very soon. Double 11 is also an event which makes it very clear what the size of e-commerce in China is. Double 11 is the 11th of November. Originally was turned into Singles Day by Chinese students a couple of decennia ago. It was a day where you would either go out and try to find yourself a partner through a blind date, which is very important in China because there's a lot of pressure on young people to get married and have kids. Or you could celebrate the fact that you were still single. You could celebrate your singlehood. And a few years ago, Alibaba took this event and said that this is also the day where you can shop with great offers and great discounts. And they stimulate all of the people on their platforms to hand out and give out discounts. And it's an amazing, enormous event of online selling. Last year on Double 11, 402 million visitors visited Tmall. So that's 2/3 of the total population went on the Tmall platform to see if there's something they wanted to buy. 4.3 billion euro was sold on the Alibaba platforms. That's 3 times as much as in the US on Black Friday the same year. Black Friday is their big online sales fest. Now compare this to number 2, Jingdong. They sold 1.2 billion on Double 11, which is still an enormous amount, but very far away from like I said, almost a monopoly of Alibaba. And also compare it to the e-commerce in Belgium in 2013, which was 1.8 billion. So in China, they basically did 2.5 times what Belgium is doing in 1 year, and China did it in 1 day. So this will make Jack Ma very happy, of course. What will also make him happy is that now Alibaba is bigger than Amazon and eBay combined, and he had a ferocious fight for the market with eBay in the first decennium of this century. And as you can see in the movie Crocodile in the Yangtze, he won that fight. Something which will not make Jack Ma very happy is the fact, and he's admitted to this a lot of times, is that Alibaba is not very strong in social media. And social media is very important in China. One of the reasons why social media is so important is that it gives the people an opportunity to give their opinion. Now, as long as that is not something that is sensitive and is something that the Communist Party doesn't want to see online, it is a platform where they can say what they feel. And that's one of the reasons why social media is so important. And Alibaba had never had a very strong hold on social media. So people are going to the Taobao and Tmall platforms if they want to buy something, but they are spending their time on these social media platforms. And this is also a weakness for Alibaba, because more and more of these platforms are implementing e-commerce and are trying to sell stuff straight from their platforms. And as we see, there are parties that are very successful doing that. What Alibaba then did is they bought a stake in Sina Weibo. And Sina Weibo is like the Chinese Twitter, so to speak. It's like a microblog, and there's several different microblogs in China, but this has always been the most popular one. They have about 145 roughly monthly active users at the moment. And if you compare that to Twitter, Twitter still has more. But like I said, half of the population in China is still not online. And you might argue that Twitter is sort of like at the maximum, where there's still a potential growth in China. Sina did an IPO last month. They expected to raise 400 million, and they only get a 286 million, because people have started to doubt about the value of the Sina Weibo company. And I'll get back to you about the possible reasons for that. So they realized that all was not well in the camp. Sina Weibo has been having some problems. And some of these were made clear by researchers of different universities, like the Hong Kong University. They released some news that only 5% of Weibo users are actually posting original content. Most of the other people are just forwarding stuff to other people. Weibo also has a problem with, and that's where some of this 5% comes from. They have a problem with zombie accounts. There's a lot of brands and celebrities, they are just buying zombie accounts, like empty accounts, which will boost the number of followers they have. And if they are shown to have a lot of followers, that gives you mianzi, that gives you face, that gives you status, which is very important in China. So there's also automated spam accounts. And as you can see, there's a lot of users that simply don't create their own content. So on top of this, the East China Normal University had some research which showed that between March 2012 and December 2013, the number of high active users in Sina declined 74%. Now, when I arrived in China, it was in March 2011, Sina Weibo and microblogging was starting to get extremely popular, and it went into their best period. Also because of a couple of scandals that took place, which people talked about a lot in China on the microblogs. But as the Telegraph, the UK newspaper The Telegraph, has shown in a recent article, there's been a tremendous drop in the usage of Sina Weibo in 2013, August, September. Now, there's a couple of things that have probably caused this. First of all, there was a crackdown by the government on rumors. One of the downsides of Sina Weibo is that there was a lot of rumors and a lot of black PR. There's a lot of negative publicity trying to damage people and trying to damage companies and brands going on Weibo. So it was often difficult to determine what was true and what was not. And there was also quite a lot of criticism about corruption of the government, and this was getting out of hand according to the Communist Party in China. So what they did is they implemented a new law that you are not allowed to post unverified rumors on Weibo. If you did, and this was reposted like 500 times or read 5,000 times, you could end up in jail for 3 years. Now, some people think that this is what caused the enormous decrease in the use of Weibo. I personally think that a lot of people are not that politically engaged, so it's not that people are afraid to post something on Weibo, because most of them didn't post any political content whatsoever. But the content that was left on Weibo has gotten a lot less gossipy, so to speak. And that's what a lot of the people on Weibo liked. So it's not that people didn't dare to post anymore, it's just that the content that other people posted, like I said, there's only 5% that created content. Other people posted just got less interesting. And at the same time, there was more and more advertising also on Weibo. People started to move out, they started to move elsewhere, because what also happened during this time is there was a new release of a product by Tencent, a product 5.0 release of WeChat. Now WeChat, as you might not be familiar with it, but this is something that you really need to install on your smartphones and to start understanding what Chinese people use. WeChat is second most used chat app, just behind WhatsApp, but this picture would give you the impression that it's just a chat app, and that's wrong, because WeChat is much more than WhatsApp. It's a whole ecosystem which goes beyond chatting, and I'll show you some of the functionality that is available within WeChat. Like I said, originally it's chats, so you have all of your contacts within this application, and you can chat with them. But one of the good things, one of the special things about this one is that you can chat by text, but you can also chat by sending voice messages. This is something that WhatsApp has copied recently, but it was much more convenient the way you could do it in WeChat, just by holding a button, releasing it, and it would be sent. Now, there's a reason why this worked so well in China. And when I arrived in 2011, I saw that a lot of people were talking to their phones instead of into their phones. They were like talking to their phones, and I didn't understand it. But it was all of these people sending these voice messages. They were talking to their application. The reason why this is so popular has something to do with how you enter messages into a Chinese application. And of course, as you know, there's no Chinese keyboard. There's many thousands different Chinese characters. You need about 1,500 to actually be able to read most of the newspapers. So there is no keyboard with 500 keys on it. So there's different ways to enter messages into your app. And I'll show you the three different possibilities you can use within WeChat. First of all, what you can do is you can use a tool where you can draw the different characters on the screen. Now this person is drawing the message "Woman Daula," we have arrived. And you can see how long this takes. The second possibility is that you use a pinyin converter. Pinyin is the phonetical script for the Chinese characters. You just type it in Roman characters and you choose the right matching character. Also, this takes quite a lot of time. Now, you can also hold the button and just say "Woman Daula" and just send it straight away. So it saves everybody an enormous amount of time. On top of this functionality, what WeChat also did is they added a lot of social functionality. For instance, here in the Discover menu within the app, there's several things you can do. First of all, you've got Moments. Moments is like a Facebook-like timeline where you can send pictures and you can send messages and you can share links with other people. And this sort of is an alternative for your old Sina Weibo. The only difference is that only your friends see it, and it's not going public into the whole world. So it's also sometimes feels more convenient. There's a lot of functionality in here that enable people to connect to strangers. And like I said, because of the pressure on young people to find a partner and to get married and to have kids, this is very popular, these kinds of things. One of the things is to shake. You shake your mobile phone and you see other people that are shaking at the same time, which are also willing to get into contact with other people. You can also use people nearby to see what people in your vicinity are also using WeChat, and if you turn that on, you basically say, well, contact me, I want to get to know you. Now, furthermore, you have message in a bottle, drift bottle, where you can put a small message in and throw it in the ocean, and other people can pick it up and they can react to that. Tangxun is originally a game company, and they've started to add games into WeChat as well. But they've also made this social, because if I play a game, then I can see how well I've done compared to some of my friends on. So this stimulates me to compete with them. Besides your normal contacts, you also have the ability to follow official accounts and service accounts. And official accounts is more like following somebody on Twitter, where you will receive a message every day. You will not receive it straight in your chat app, but you will receive it in closed off section where all of these messages are collected. Since last year, it's also possible for companies to set up a service account. And the service account is much more about CRM. It's about maintaining the relationship with your customer. So instead of just sending messages, you can also add loyalty cards. can enable people to find the nearest location and add other functionality. A big difference also with the new WeChat application is that Tencent started to offer products and functionality where you can link your bank account to WeChat and then do different things like buy mobile credits or transfer money to a savings account where you can get quite a good interest rating, participate in lottery. You can buy special deals on Tencent's e-commerce platform. You can buy movie tickets, you can buy plane tickets, you can donate to charity. You can do group buying within the app, and you can also, and that's also something which I as a Dutchman am of course very proud of, you can use the Go Dutch system, or the AAG, where you split the bill among your friends that have also linked some bank accounts to this application. There's two things that I want to show you which have been extremely popular and which have made a lot of people link up their bank card to WeChat. One is the Hongbao. And the Hongbao is normally a red envelope which people give to each other during Spring Festival, the Chinese New Year. WeChat implemented a tool where you could say, I want to donate this much money and spread it out over this many of my friends. The app would then randomly put different amounts of money in these envelopes and send it out. Now, of course, this created like a sort of game element to all of this, and a lot of people have used this to just send small gifts to their friends during Spring Festival, which then triggered them to try it as well. A second thing which has increased the number of people that sign up their bank cards is something called Didi Dache. Didi Dache is an app where you can call up a taxi. You can say, this is where I am, this is where I want to go, and I'm willing to give you an extra tip if you pick me up here and bring me there. In the first couple of months of the year, Tencent actually also gave a discount to the consumer as well as to the taxi driver. So everybody started using this because it was not just handy, but it was also commercially or economically a big advantage. And as you can see from the figures between January and April, there's an enormous growth in the number of people that used it and the number of transactions. And all of these people had to link their bank card to WeChat. More things you can do is you can buy stickers, which you can use in the chats with your friends. You can scan products or barcodes that you see offline and then go to shops and buy them online. So there's a lot of O2O going on. There's location-based things where you can find your nearest shops that you like. There's even a scanner. You can scan your surroundings and it will open up Street View. What it actually does, it determines your geolocation and starts something which is comparable to Google Street View. And another activity to make you link your card to WeChat is vending machines where you can get very cheap drinks by mobile payment through WeChat. And also what you see more and more is these QR codes where you can just scan the QR code and online you can immediately through WeChat buy different goods. Now it's not a big surprise that from February 2011 to now the growth of this app has exploded because it's so handy and it's got so much in its ecosystem. At the end of last year it had about 600 million users, of which about 100 million overseas, and that's mostly in Southeast Asia. And currently the last figures that were released in Q4 is that there's about 355 monthly active users on WeChat. Now basically almost everybody in China that has a smartphone, almost everybody has WeChat on its phone, and most of them are using it very actively. So what we see is the battle for e-commerce is shifting into the area of m-commerce. It's taking place on the mobile phones, on the smartphones. So 500 million people are using the internet through their smartphone and are buying stuff, some of them through their smartphone. As a matter of fact, China is globally the country with the highest penetration of mobile internet. It's 83% in China and bigger than in any other country. Also, the number of people that are buying through their mobile phone is higher than anywhere else. Almost 70%, more than 2/3 of Chinese consumers have bought something on their smartphone. And even compared to the US, where it's less than half, China is already way ahead. Some more statistics about m-commerce. Since the mid of 2013, like I said, more people are shopping through their phones, 81%, than on a computer. A lot of people don't even have a computer. They might use a computer in the office, but they don't have one at home. So also a lot of people are using computers in like cyber cafes, but are not owning their own computer. But now with the smartphones, you can do everything on your phone. You can buy on your phone. During Double 11, there was 127 million consumers that spent 653 billion euro just through Taobao Mobile. That's almost 6 times as high as the year before. So this shows the growth of m-commerce. And it also covers 21% of all the transactions on Taobao. So 1 out of 5 transactions was made using a smartphone, a mobile phone. 400 million people, that's 2/3 of China's netizens in 2013 have already shopped on Taobao. So it's huge, and it's gonna get even bigger. If you see where it is in 2013, the estimate, it's gonna go almost like 5 times as high, more than 5 times as high by 2017. And that's the estimates. And this is why m-commerce in China is much further around, and is where we need to look at China, what's happening there, because we can learn a lot from that. A couple of reasons why this growth is expected. There's many new ways of mobile payment. I'll show you the vending machine. Shown you a couple of other examples, the QR codes. The penetration of smartphones in the countryside will go even further up. There's more and more very good smartphones like Xiaomi at very relatively low prices that now become available in the market. The 3G coverage is increasing, the number of Wi-Fi hotspots is increasing, and there's more and more people using O2O, the offline to online tools, scan something offline and buy it online. The mobile shopping market, you'll see that a lot of the parties which are also strong in e-commerce, you can see them again in the m-commerce market, like Taobao Mobile, Jingdong, and Jingdong is one of the companies that partnered up with Tencent. Now this is something, like I said, in social media and social networking where Alibaba has never been really strong. So they made their own chat app and they aggressively promoted it by asking all of the Alibaba employees to convince their friends to use it, and they actually got a bonus if they did well with that. But so far it's not done very well, which is not very strange, because even if it would be better, which I don't think so, considering what the quality of WeChat, but even under those circumstances that it would be a better product, you have to be the first one in the market and have a reasonably good product. And even if you're the second and your product is better, just take Google Plus. It's a better social network, but it will not really win from Facebook because everybody's already there and there's no momentum to shift people from one to another. Now they just recently released a new version, a new branding. I'm not sure if this is going to help Laiwang and Alibaba. Having said that, there's still a big fight going on between the two companies, and they are buying up different parties in the market to get close to where people are on the internet. You can see that Tencent is starting to sort of expand into e-commerce, while Alibaba is trying to expand into the platforms where people spend their time when they're not shopping on Taobao. So you see Laiwang and WeChat obviously wins. Tencent has their own microblog, but Sina's microblog is still much more popular. Taobao is of course stronger in m-commerce, and even though Jingdong is now a partner of Tencent, it is still second to Tmall, and also the payment systems of Alipay, it's like the PayPal of Alibaba, is stronger still than Tenpay. Then again, like I showed, there's a lot of people that are now linking up to Tenpay or WeChat payment because of all of these cool tools that are now inside the WeChat app. One of the most recent news items is that Alibaba has now taken a stake in video website Youku Tudou. You can consider it the YouTube of China. And this again enables them to be in the places where people spend their time, because Yoku and Todo is one of the 5 sites where people spend most of their time online. Other sites are Sina, QQ, Baidu, the search engine, and Taobao and Tmall. This is where people spend most of their time, and you can see what's happening. Alibaba is buying stakes in these other companies to be present where people spend their times. So this picture, which I showed you at the beginning, is constantly changing. It's changing almost on a daily basis, with new partnerships being formed, new company takeovers taking place, and it's extremely exciting to follow all of this. I have only shown you the tip of the iceberg, but I hope you have found this interesting, and I hope that maybe sometime in the future I can come back and show you the new up-to-date version of this picture, what's the market situation at that point in time. And finally, this is my contact details. Thank you.